Step-by-step think in English. Do you want to think in English without translating every word? Stay with me, because one small habit can change the way your mind works. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about something very useful. We will learn how to think in English step by step. Many people study English for a long time. They learn grammar, they memorize words, they read stories, they listen to lessons. But when they try to speak, they stop. They first think in their own language. Then they translate the sentence. Then they try to speak. This takes too much time. That is why speaking feels difficult. If you feel the same, do not worry. You are not alone. Many learners have this problem. The good news is that you can change it little by little. You do not need to become perfect in one day. You only need to train your mind in a simple way. This story is about a young man named Ali. Ali lived in a small town. He wanted to speak English with confidence. He had many English books. He watched English videos every day. He learned many words from his phone, but he had one big problem. He always translated in his head. When he saw a cup, he first thought of the word in his own language. Then he changed it to English. When he wanted to answer a question, he did the same thing. Because of this, he spoke very slowly. He felt nervous. He thought good speakers had a special gift. He believed they could think in English naturally. Ali wanted that gift too. One day, Ali met an English teacher at a small library. The teacher was kind and calm. He asked Ali a simple question. "Why do you take so long to speak?" Ali looked down and said, "I know many words, but I cannot think fast in English." The teacher smiled and said, "That is normal. You do not need to force your mind. You only need to guide it step by step." Ali listened carefully. The teacher then gave him a very simple plan. He said, "Start with one thought. Start with one sentence. Use English for the things around you. Think in short and easy words." Ali felt hopeful. The idea was simple, but it made sense. The teacher asked Ali to try something small. He said, "Look outside and describe what you see in English." Ali looked through the window. He saw a tree. He said, "The tree is green." He saw a dog. He said, "The dog is sleeping." He saw a boy with a bag. He said, "The boy is walking." These sentences were short. They were easy, but they helped Ali think directly in English. He did not translate every word. He only used the English he already knew. For the first time, he felt his mind working in a new way. The teacher gave him one more task. He said, "From now on, do not wait for long sentences. Use simple English in your daily life. When you wake up, say, 'I am awake.' When you eat, say, 'I am eating.' When you walk, say, 'I am walking.' When you feel happy, say, 'I am happy.' These small thoughts will train your brain." Ali smiled because the advice was easy to follow. It did not feel heavy. It did not feel impossible. It felt like a step he could take today. That evening, Ali went home and tried the new method. He sat near his window and looked at the sky. He thought, "The sky is blue." He looked at his table. He thought, "This is my table." He picked up a book. He thought, "I am reading a book." He spoke softly to himself again and again. At first, it felt strange. Then it became easier. He was not speaking full conversations yet, but his mind was slowly learning to use English first. That was the beginning of real progress. Ali wrote one sentence in his notebook before sleeping. "I do not need to think in two languages. I can learn to think in English step by step." He closed the notebook and smiled. He knew this was only the first day, but he also knew something important had changed. His journey had started. Chapter 2. Ali uses English in daily life. The next morning, Ali remembered the teacher's advice. He did not wait for a special time. He started with his normal day. When he opened his eyes, he said softly, "I am awake." When he got out of bed, he said, "I am standing." When he washed his face, he said, "I am washing my face." These were very small sentences, but they helped him think in English before he thought in his own language. He felt a little strange at first. Then he smiled because it was working. His mind was slowly learning a new habit. At breakfast, Ali tried again. He looked at the tea and thought, "This tea is hot." He looked at the bread and thought, "This bread is soft." He looked at his mother and thought, "My mother is kind." He did not say these sentences out loud every time. Sometimes he said them in his mind. Sometimes he whispered them quietly. The important thing was that he was using English for simple daily thoughts. The teacher had told him to begin with easy words, and now Ali could see why. Easy words were not small. They were powerful. Later that day, Ali walked to the market. He decided to describe everything he saw. He looked at a bicycle and thought, "The bicycle is red." He saw a man carrying bags and thought, "The man is walking." He saw a shop with many fruits and thought, "The apples are fresh." He saw children playing near a wall and thought, "The children are happy." Every sentence was short. Every sentence was useful. Ali did not try to make beautiful English. He only tried to make simple English. That simple practice helped his brain stay active in English. When he reached the market, he saw an old friend named Omar. Omar smiled and said, "How are you, Ali?" Ali wanted to answer quickly, but his old habit came back for a second. He almost translated the sentence in his head. Then he stopped himself. He took a small breath and replied, "I am fine. How are you?" Omar looked happy. He said, "I am good too." Ali smiled because he had answered without fear. It was only one short conversation, but it gave him a lot of confidence. Omar noticed the change in Ali's face. He asked, "You speak English more easily now. What changed?" Ali explained everything. He said, "I stopped waiting for long sentences. I started with small ones. I describe my day in English. I think about simple things in English. I try not to translate every word." Omar listened carefully. He liked the idea. He said, "That sounds very useful. Maybe I should try it too." Ali laughed and replied, "Yes, start with the things around you. Your room, your food, your clothes, your feelings. Everything can become English practice." That afternoon, Ali returned home and sat in his room. He looked around and practiced again. "This is my chair. This is my book. This is my pen. My room is small. My bag is blue. The fan is on." He spoke slowly and clearly. He repeated the sentences several times. Then he changed them a little. "The chair is near the window. The book is on the table. The pen is in my hand." He liked this exercise because it felt real. It was not only grammar, it was life. It was his own room, his own objects, his own thoughts. In the evening, Ali opened the notebook that the teacher had given him. He wrote a few lines about his day in simple English. "I woke up early. I practiced English. I went to the market. I spoke with Omar. I felt happy." Then he read the lines aloud. Reading helped him remember the words. Speaking helped him use the words. Writing helped him organize his thoughts. He was using all three together, and that made his English stronger. Before sleeping, Ali thought about the old version of himself. That boy used to freeze when he wanted to speak. He used to look for a perfect translation. He used to stay silent because he feared mistakes. Now, he was changing slowly. He was still a beginner, but he was learning in the right way. He understood that fluency did not come from one big effort. It came from many small efforts every day. He smiled, closed his notebook, and said one final sentence in English. Today I used English in my daily life, and tomorrow I will use it even more. He fell asleep with hope in his heart because he could feel that his English was growing step by step. Chapter 3. Ali speaks faster without translating. The next morning, Ali woke up with a new feeling. He was still a beginner, but his mind was already changing. He no longer wanted to stop and translate every sentence. He wanted to answer faster. He wanted to think in English first. He wanted the words to come more naturally. So, after breakfast, he sat near the window and began his practice again. He looked outside and said, "The weather is nice." He saw a bird and said, "The bird is flying." He saw a child and said, "The child is playing." These sentences were simple, but they helped him build speed. He was not trying to speak like a teacher, he was trying to speak like a learner who was improving every day. Later, Ali visited the library again. The teacher was there, reading a book. When he saw Ali, he smiled and said, "You look more confident today." Ali smiled back and replied, "I am trying to think in English more often." The teacher nodded because he could see the progress. Then he said, "Good. Now you must take the next step. Do not only think about things around you, start thinking about your actions too." Ali listened carefully. The teacher continued, "When you eat, think, I am eating. When you walk, think, I am walking. When you sit, think, I am sitting. When you feel tired, think, I am tired." This will train your brain to use English in daily life. Ali liked this idea because it felt easy. It did not need difficult grammar. It only needed attention and practice. That afternoon, Ali went to the park. He decided to use the new method there. He sat on a bench and looked around. He saw a man reading a newspaper. He thought, "The man is reading." He saw two boys playing football. He thought, "The boys are playing football." He saw an old woman feeding pigeons. He thought, "The woman is feeding birds." He kept going. Every thought was short. Every thought was clear. The more he practiced, the less he needed to search for words in his own language. English was becoming part of his mind. He smiled because he could feel the difference. While Ali was sitting there, his friend Omar arrived again. Omar sat beside him and asked, "What are you doing?" Ali answered quickly, "I am practicing English in my mind." Omar laughed softly and said, "That sounds interesting." Ali explained, "I used to translate everything. It made me slow. Now I try to think directly in English. It is still not perfect, but it is helping me speak faster." Omar looked impressed. He asked, "Does it really work?" Ali nodded. "Yes, but you must do it every day." One day is not enough. Small practice brings small progress. Small progress becomes big change. Then Omar wanted to try the method too. He looked at the trees and said, "The trees are green." He looked at the sky and said, "The sky is blue." He looked at the road and said, "The road is busy." Both friends smiled because they were learning together. The park felt like a small classroom, and every object around them became a lesson. Ali realized that English learning did not always need books and grammar drills. Sometimes it only needed attention, curiosity, and simple sentences. After that, Ali went home and practiced in his room for 10 minutes. He walked and said, "I am walking." He opened his bag and said, "I am opening my bag." He picked up his notebook and said, "I am writing." He drank water and said, "I am drinking water." At first, these actions felt silly, but he kept going because he knew they were helping. He was teaching his brain to connect English with real life. That was the key. The more he connected English to actions, the faster he could think. Before sleeping, Ali opened his notebook and wrote another lesson. He wrote, I do not need to translate every word. I can use English to describe my life. Then he read the sentence aloud 3 times. His voice was calm. His mind was calm too. He felt proud because he had made real progress. He was still not fluent. He still made mistakes. But he was no longer stuck. He was moving forward, step by step, and every step was making him stronger. Ali closed the notebook and smiled at the ceiling for a moment. He understood something very important. Thinking in English was not a magic trick. It was a habit. Habits take time. Habits grow slowly, but once they become part of your life, they change everything. That night, Ali slept with one clear thought in his mind. Tomorrow, I will think in English even faster. Chapter 4. A few weeks passed, and Ali became a different person. He was still a learner, but he was no longer the same boy who used to freeze before speaking. He now thought in English many times during the day. He no longer translated every sentence in his mind. He no longer waited too long before answering. He had learned to use simple English for simple thoughts, and that had changed his life slowly and beautifully. Every morning he repeated small sentences. Every afternoon he described things around him. Every evening he wrote a few lines in his notebook. These habits looked small, but they were making a big difference. One day the teacher called Ali to the library again. When Ali arrived, the teacher was smiling. Ali, he said, tell me honestly, what has changed the most? Ali thought for a moment. Then he answered, my mind has changed. Before, I was afraid of English. Now, I try to live with English every day. The teacher nodded with happiness. That is the real goal, he said. You are not only learning words, you are building a new habit of thinking. Ali sat down and opened his notebook. He had written many short sentences in it. Some were about the weather, some were about food, some were about his room, some were about his feelings, some were about people he met. He looked at the pages and smiled. Each page showed progress. Each line showed effort. Each mistake had helped him learn. Each correction had made him better. The teacher pointed to one page and said, read that sentence. Ali, read it clearly. I am thinking in English step by step. The teacher smiled. Very good. That sentence is not only English practice. It is your new life. Ali smiled too. He understood what the teacher meant. Thinking in English was not only about language, it was about confidence. It was about speed. It was about freedom. When the mind stops translating every word, speaking becomes easier. That was the secret he had been searching for. That afternoon, Ali met his friend Omar again. Omar was sitting in the park with a small English book. Ali sat beside him and asked, are you practicing? Omar nodded. Yes, I started thinking about simple things in English, just like you told me. Ali smiled. That is good. What do you think about now? Omar laughed softly. Mostly about the things I see. I look at the sky and say, the sky is bright. I look at the road and say, the road is long. I look at the people and say, they are walking. It feels strange, but it helps. Ali nodded. It feels strange in the beginning, but later it becomes normal. Omar looked at him with respect. You have changed a lot, he said. You speak more clearly now. Ali smiled. I am still learning, but I feel stronger. That evening, something special happened. Ali was sitting at home when his younger cousin came to visit. The boy was learning English too. He looked worried and said, I know many words, but I cannot speak fast. Ali understood that feeling very well. He smiled kindly and said, do not worry, I felt the same. Start with small thoughts. Look at one thing and say a simple sentence. Think in English little by little. Do not try to become perfect in one day. The boy listened carefully. Ali continued, when you wake up, say, I am awake. When you drink tea, say, the tea is hot. When you walk outside, say, I am walking. When you see a tree, say, the tree is green. This will help your mind grow in English. The boy smiled. Really? That simple? Ali nodded. Yes, simple is powerful. The boy repeated a few sentences with him. Soon, both of them were laughing and practicing together. Ali felt happy because he was no longer only learning for himself. He was helping someone else begin the same journey. That made his learning even more meaningful. Later that night, Ali sat alone with his notebook. He looked at the first page and remembered the old days. He remembered the fear. He remembered the long pauses. He remembered the habit of translating every word. He remembered how slow and nervous he used to feel. Then he looked at himself now. He was not perfect. He still made mistakes. But he was different. He had learned to move forward. He had learned to trust simple practice. He had learned that small steps bring big change. He picked up his pen and wrote the final lesson of his journey. To think in English, start with simple words, practice every day, and never fear mistakes. Small thoughts become strong habits, and strong habits create confidence. Ali read the sentence again and smiled. He closed the notebook slowly. The room was quiet. His heart felt calm. His mind felt clear. He had started as a boy who translated every word. He had become a young man who could think in English step by step. That was his success. That was his reward. That was the result of daily practice. So remember Ali's story. If you want to think in English, do not try to do everything at once. Start with one sentence, start with one object, start with one idea. Use English in your daily life, speak simple words. Read simple stories. Write simple lines. Practice again and again. One day, your mind will begin to think in English naturally, and you will speak with much more confidence. Moral of the story: do not wait to think in perfect English. Start with simple English today, practice every day, and your mind will grow stronger step by step. The end.